Hey everybody, this is Steve X bringing you my average gamer review of the 2013 release of Tomb Raider. First off, to give you a little background about me, I'm a late 30s midlife crisis gamer, and my go-to game is Call of Duty, and that's what I play with my friends a couple nights a week. But I also like to dabble in other games from time to time as well. I like games that are going to give me, first of all, stunning graphics, a great storyline. I'm big into movies and stories, so I want to see something that's going to be really engaging and unique. So basically my favorite games are things like Gears of War, Halo's pretty good, of course Call of Duty, but then things like Uncharted, Fallout, and Mass Effect are some of my other favorite franchises that I like to play. So that'll give you a frame of reference as far as what I like when you hear my thoughts on this current game. So, quick synopsis. So this is a reboot of the franchise for Tomb Raider. There's about 7 or 8 games, I believe, going in the past. The last one was about 4 or 5 years ago released, which was Tomb Raider Legend. If you've played the other games before, I played them all, probably the last 5 or so, back on the PS2, going through the Xbox 360. And basically they were all about the same. It's Tomb Raider, she's running around, looks kind of cute, you know, on that level of graphics. And she basically is a badass solving puzzles, and pretty much every game is about the same, just different locales. Not a lot as far as story within there, I guess, but still it's a beloved icon within gaming. So I was really excited when I heard about this reboot coming out, and what they're doing is they're telling you the invention of Lara Croft as a Tomb Raider. Basically it starts off with her on what looks like a college expedition, but it's an archaeology expedition, and they're out in the ocean somewhere with some professors and some colleagues, and they get shipwrecked, things go awry, and she has to learn how to defend herself and how to survive. And you basically see that transformation of Laura as basically like a college girl, being scared out of her mind, doing what she has to survive, and then basically becoming more brave and confident in herself, and then basically saving the day, saving her friends, or what friends she can at least. So that's it. And a quick note, I'm not going to give any spoilers on this. There'll be limited gameplay and probably just mainly trailers that you can find anywhere on the internet that I'll show and talk to this over. Primarily because I think there is a special level of hell reserved for people that give spoilers during reviews. And my brother will be one of those people burning in said hell. So without further ado, let's get on with the review. So first of all, let's look at the story. So like I mentioned in the synopsis, the story is very engaging, and it's a great origin story for Lara Croft. The story will keep you entertained, engaged, and caring about what is happening with Lara Croft and her friends. So it's a great storyline. It's interesting, and it develops as you move along. You learn more, and she's trying to figure out what's going on with the island. So it's a great storyline, and I think it does a really good homage to the Tomb Raider franchise. If we're going to look at story, let's go ahead and look at the acting in it. So let's look at voice acting. If I had to rate voice acting, I would give the voice acting a 9. I want to give it a 10 because I think Lara Croft, the actress they used for her, did a phenomenal job. You really believe her pain, her fear, everything she's going through is great. And supporting character in here by the name of Roth actually does a really good job as well. They have a lot of dialogue. It's very meaningful, and you believe it because of how well their voice acting is. With that said, pretty much every other character, supporting character, villains, whatnot, is pretty mediocre at best. So voice acting, I'd probably give it a 9 overall, and it's only dragged down from a 10 because of the supporting characters. And so overall, the story is interesting, it's vast, and it evolves well throughout the gameplay. So I would say the story itself would give about a 9 for the story. Now let's look at graphics. So the graphics are definitely what you'd expect and on par with a 2013 release on current gen hardware. I played this on Xbox 360, and I gotta say the backgrounds are breathtaking. They're very interesting. Now you're confined to an island for the most part, but sometimes there's shipwrecks, you're in caves, different locales, temples and whatnot, and they do a really good job of rendering these backgrounds and keeping everything interesting as you're progressing throughout the story. So I was just in awe with how well they did on these backgrounds and the graphics. So graphics itself, I give a 9.5. The only thing I've seen that's on par with that is maybe something from Uncharted or Crysis 2 or Crysis 3, which are also very renowned for their graphics. So this is definitely on par with those and very good. If we look at gameplay and movement, the gameplay is really good. It's not the limited directionality and movement from the old Tomb Raider. This is a whole different beast. Lara Croft can move around. She's got lots of different movements, climbing walls, her jumping. There's a cover system when you're doing combat, so it's really good. And when looking at the gameplay and that cover system, the enemies will actively throw grenades, Molotovs, and stuff to try to draw you out of cover. So it's really good, and the AI on it's pretty good as far as trying to keep you engaged and not just camping everywhere. But it's almost a little crazy how aggressive the enemy AI is, and as far as trying to pull you out of cover. But anyway, so it's really good. I'd give gameplay an 8.5. Now, sound and music. The sound does a really good job keeping everything spooky when needed and vast and open, and you really get a good feel for the surroundings based off the sounds. Now, one thing that I thought was a little lacking is sound directionality. I was using a surround sound headset, and sometimes when there's footsteps or character shouting or wolves howling, basically I was having trouble picking out their location. It all sounded like it was coming from my left when it was on the right. So I think the directionality was a little off on that, but I'm not going to fault them too hard on that. But overall, the sound was very good, and I'd give that an 8.5. Now, the last thing we're going to rate is replayability. So for the game itself, there is a fast travel system. You can go back and forth. Sometimes there are things early on in the game, tombs that you cannot access because you don't have the right equipment yet. And as you progress and upgrade equipment, find new tools, you can go back and do those. I personally did not because I'm not sure what the benefit is really. You could get more XP and unlock more of your skill points and everything by doing that, but I just wasn't that into it, so I don't know. And then multiplayer itself, it really feels like an add-on. Yes, there's a multiplayer in here. You can try it out, but it's going to feel like a tacked-on level of the game. The characters aren't really anything to write home about, and it's just kind of a clunky mechanics. Basically, there's nothing stand out about the multiplayer. It feels like most games, they just feel like they need to tack it on, kind of similar to like Max Payne 3. Sure, there's a multiplayer. It was just added on because everyone feels like they need to do it now. Probably to make you feel like there's a reason to buy the game and keep it in your library. So really, I'd give replayability about a 6.5. But don't let that detract you from playing the game. If you get a chance, my overall review is definitely try this game. Whether you rent it or buy it, I'd probably recommend renting, however. Because I don't see the replayability there, but it's definitely something you need to experience. The game is phenomenal, and let's address the elephant in the room. Laura is smoking hot. Yes. But that's it. So go ahead and give the game a try, and if you try it and you liked it or don't like it, or you like the review, go ahead and let me know in the comments what you guys think yourselves. So as always, that's my review, and good hunting.
Walking around everywhere.